What, are we live? Seriously? I didn't hit start. Hey fellas. So I take it you can hear me, right? Hey folks, so we've got Mars out tonight. It's just gone through a very thin bank of cloud. And it's much better conditions than it was last night. So I thought, right, let's show you the Martian volcanoes live. Okay, and we are running again. So you don't have the clack, clack, clack going over a few seconds. I'm not running the time lapse tonight. I've only just come out. Earlier this evening it was all cloudy and there was no chance. But now it's actually looking fairly decent. So the volcanoes are they're not quite visible yet. I reckon another hour or two. Okay, maybe I started this stream a little prematurely, but the thing is that at the point we are in the evening at the moment, it's much better conditions than it was last night. Last night it was getting worse and worse and worse. This looks like it's much more standard and getting better and better and better, which means that you can, with the digital eyepiece, see the volcanoes, straight to the eyepiece, which is kind of fun. So you should be able to see them directly. I'm going to see if I can get there. Just give me a second. I'm going to see if I can get my cursor to reveal on here. If anyone knows how to use OBS to get to controls, I don't want those. Show my mouse settings. Let's try that. So half the time you find out the setting was on all the time. Yeah, it's a bit fuzzy. You have to bear in mind that what you're looking at is absolutely minuscule. Planets are tiny. And let me just see if I can sort the let me just see if I can get my cursor on. If I can get my cursor on the video, then I can show you everything. Oh, I should have prepared. Hotkeys, it's not hotkeys, it's not video output. Somewhere in here there'll be a single button that says capture mouse. But if you don't know where it is, projectors, output. It's not there. Okay, I'm going to call this one quits. I'm not going to find this. So whoever said that's kind of fuzzy, actually that's bloody awesome. This, oh, it's going behind some cloud by the looks of things. If it fades down like that, it's high cloud, but it's different high cloud than it was last night. It's much more sedentary high cloud. Yeah, no, this is almost as good as Mars gets. So I can show you just how bad the seeing is or good by just defocusing the image and jacking up the contrast, which we do in this one. So you see the shimmer on the image. Okay, that's the atmosphere, and Yeah, that's why planetary observing is hard, because you're looking at something very small through an atmosphere. You know, this on the grand scheme of things is actually super stable. It's about 23 is where we're at. And okay, I'm going to do some recording in a second. And then we'll go take a look, see if we can see the volcanoes. That's actually not bad. Okay, center them up. Up there somewhere. Grab 1,000 frames. And we'll actually process these frames almost straight away. So the pole that you can see at the bottom, that is actually the South Polar ice cap. The planet is rotating from left to right. And there is a darker terrain at the bottom and a lighter terrain at the top, and in that lighter terrain, in the top and slightly to the left, is where the volcanoes are. I think we're too bright even at this. We need to be a little fainter. Yeah, I mean, this is actually pretty decent for Mars. If you see Mars like that through a telescope, ever, you don't grumble. So what you tend to see through the telescope is Mars is just crazy bright. Yeah, it's one of those things that there's almost too much light. Okay, I'm going to call it quits at that. It's just not quite stable. Okay. I'm going to process the one that I just recorded and we'll see what it looks like. So what we want to do is we're going to need another window. Who is going to be Registax. There we go. Awesome. That should do it. No, not there. Registax, where are you? There we go. Awesome. Good. So here we have an image that we processed last night when the conditions were not so good. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open the image that we just recorded. It is not on March the 10th, but is on March the 11th. And this one is the one that we just recorded. And okay, we need some align points. That's not too bad. Let's have a few more align points. Click on align. And it processes away 15%, 20%. You can't see the progress bar. Let's see if we can sort that out for you. There we go. See the progress bar at the bottom now. So we're up to 80%. So actually have it off like this, then we can see everything. Okay, we now need to go to limit and stack. Yeah, even now I can see this is actually going to be pretty decent. I didn't check. So depending on the conditions, you can sort of tailor how it sort of stacks up the images. but we're not going to do anything too sophisticated. And the wavelets. Huh. Okay. So I think the big slice going through the middle is whatever this massive canyon system on Mars. That means that the volcanoes are currently on the far left of the planet. It's going to be an hour or two before they come around, but my god, the image is immaculate at the moment. Right, so okay, one last attempt at focusing. Okay, there we are. Okay, let's center them up. I'm going to record this again. Not something I would normally do. So the volcano that we're going to be looking at is Olympus Mons, who is about the same size as France, it turns out. Okay, I'm going to take a look at some questions. How many fractions of a degree are we looking at? Mars is tiny at the moment, but well, Mars is always tiny. So the biggest of the planets is about an arc minute. So Jupiter is typically about 1 arc minute in size. 1 arc second is typically the best resolution that you get looking through the atmosphere. Mars, I think at the moment, is getting on for 30, 40 arc seconds, something like that, which is can you see Jupiter and Saturn? And the answer is not at the moment. They've gone behind the house. If it had been clear earlier, in fact, I'll do that tomorrow. If it's clear tomorrow, I'll get the telescope out and we'll take a look at Saturn and Jupiter, because they're always kind of fun. And it looks like we've got some more high cloud going across because the image has gone a bit fainter. This is the nice thing about doing it all digitally, is you can just tweak the brightness like so and you're more or less done. Yeah, the telescope's not the problem at the moment. The telescope is more or less sat outside all the time now. So you can run into problems that... Oh my god. Wow. I don't know whether you can hear that. Someone is very unhappy with their train driving. You missed Uranus yesterday. Yeah, I never quite got around to Uranus yesterday. Yeah, those horns always remind me of War of the Worlds, you know, the Martian's horn, which... Right, I think we can probably take another go at a capture on this. I'm going to deliberately make it darker this time to see if we can get the volcanoes coming around the edge of the planet. Oh yeah, this is good. This is settling down nicely. Another hour. If the weather holds, this will be fantastic. Okay, let's record our 1,000 frames. So up to 100 frames, 200, 300. Even this is probably a bit bright, we're saturating out a bit. And knock it down a notch or two. Okay, there we go, 800, 1,000 frames. Takes about 30 seconds to get 1,000 frames. Right, let's pull that into Registacks. There we go. Oh, it looks good. Even in the preview, it looks good. Yeah, I've just done that. So I did actually order today an automatic skyline. Normally I don't bother with this sort of thing because, well, if I'm doing photography, you need the telescope to be absolutely locked down rigidly, and the platform I'm on at the moment, yeah, can you see? Right, even if I just sort of jiggle around on the platform, you'll see the telescope shakes like crazy. So there's no way I can do really. Oh, what? Okay, let's limit that and stack them. But I was rather hoping that this automatic alignment gizmo would mean that I don't have to sit out here and track Mars the whole night. Here we go. Excellent. So this is our stacked image. Actually, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I don't know if I've got Celestia on this computer. I don't know. I don't have Celestia. Ah, I'm offended. Okay, right. I'm going to download Celestia, and we'll see what Celestia thinks Mars should look like at the moment. Okay. Celestia. Yeah, download. That's what we want for Windows. That'll do. So Celestia is great for yeah, working out where everything is at in the solar system at the moment. So I'm going to show you what Celestia thinks the planet should look like at the moment. You have to install this first. So normally I do all of the video processing from another machine. I'm actually on the laptop at the moment. Which I don't usually make videos from, for the simple reason that if you're making videos you need a big screen. Ah, good. Okay, we are opening up on Celestia. So where are we at? Where's the streamy guy? Aha, good. So let's add a not display capture, a window capture, and we want Celestia. Yay! Awesome. So there you go. That's home. Okay, that's where we're at the moment. Oh, this is getting complicated. Got too many things to keep track of. Let's keep Mars mostly centered. That's nice. And now in Celestia, let's go and take a look around. Okay, so we can rotate. Obviously it's dark where I am. Oh, this is bad to do on. So I'm over here on the dark side of the planet somewhere. And I might actually need to go and get a mouse. I'm not so sure I can do this without a mouse. I need to go to the view options, and I need to put the orbits of the planets on. Orbits, not markers, just the orbits is fine. Okay, awesome. And so if I now go and take a look at Mars, There we go. Mars should be over here somewhere. Oh, it's not got a label on. Put a label on. Actually, possibly. I want to zoom out. I can't zoom. I don't have a wheel mouse on the butt. Ah, there we go. There's Mars. You see Mars? So let's. I'm actually on the other side of Earth at the moment, but it doesn't matter. It's close enough. So I can actually zoom in from here. And this will show us what Mars looks like at the moment. As you can see, it's quite small in the sky. Come on. Oh, yeah. Look, Mars has moons. So this is what we're looking at the moment. And there's the first of the volcanoes. So that big scar down the middle is the largest canyon system in the solar system. Again, oh God, it's so annoying you can't see my cursor. There's got to be a simple option that says show my cursor. No, it says capture cursor. What the fuck? Okay, I'm going to turn it off. Capture cursor. So according to this, it is capturing my cursor. But so yeah, okay. I need to get into Celestia and I need to rotate it such that the image is in about the right orientation, which is South Pole's all the way down there somewhere. So you've now got, that's both of them. Obviously this isn't this is an old map of Mars, so it doesn't have the changing South Polar ice cap there. But these are the volcanoes. Oh, you can't see my cursor, fuck's sake. Okay, in the exact middle of the planet there is a big scar that goes east-west. That's the biggest canyon system in the world. And if you look at the way that it points straight out to the left, you'll see that's the first of the volcanoes. There's a line of 3 volcanoes there. And if I zoom into Mars a little more, this is how I can do it. Good, okay. So I'm going to zoom in and show you the volcanoes. I'm going to put them right in the middle of the field of view. So those are 3 of the little volcanoes, and that, just coming around the limb of the planet, that boy is Olympus Mons. That's the largest volcano in the solar system. And just to show you roughly how, so this says at the moment that the time is 10:21 UT. I can change the passage of time on this, and I've got to go to track Mars. There we go. And so, oops, what are we at? Okay, that's about where we are at the moment. That's 10:20, and that's when it basically crosses the meridian. Okay, let me just get Mars back here for a second. Awesome. So that's in, what's that, an hour's time? 1 hour's time until Olympus Mons actually crosses what is essentially the meridian on Mars. So just so we're absolutely clear, let me see if I can't. Time is paused. There we go. Zoom all the way into Olympus Mons. Just so we're absolutely clear what we're talking about, that is Olympus Mons, and that's what where it's going to be in about an hour's time. Assuming the weather holds, and it looks like the weather is going to hold, which is cool. And we've got 46 seconds before I have to. Oops! I'm operating as normal in the complete darkness. So, okay, so let's actually move the time backwards. Time rate times by 100. Time is paused. Time forwards, time backwards. Okay, there we go. So that's where we're at the moment, and yeah, let's see if we can actually. Okay, let me record my video. That is a good image of Mars. That is a very nice image of Mars. Right, I'm going to center it out. This will screw you over for a bit, I'm afraid, but I'm just doing this until I can actually get my video. Okay. Oh, you might even be able to see the volcanoes in the raw image at this point. For certain, if Olympus Mons, oh, that's cloud. Oh, you son of a bitch. Okay, I'm going to stop it there, and I'm moving back so you actually see Mars behind the cloud. It's very, very, very thin cloud, and as you can see, it's not very agitated cloud, otherwise it would completely trash the seeing. So I'm going to come back and we're going to process that. Oops. We're going to process that image that we just got. Good grief, so much going on. Registacks, there we go. Yeah, whatever. Actually, no, I'll batch all of these later. Okay, there we go. Let's open that one up. Okay, and it looks like we're taking 300 frames out of all of this, which means I'm throwing away 2/3 of the frames, which, whatever. Data is cheap, so why don't I record more? It's basically a signal to noise thing. If you want to halve the signal to noise, you need 4 times as much data, so that you hit a diminishing returns thing after recording about 30 seconds of video. You know, to get it better, you need to record lots more data, and then you can run into problems with, you know, the atmosphere or the planet rotating or some shit like that. So okay, so I'm going to process this one, and I think I'm being bitten by a mosquito. Blood-sucking bastards. Yeah, this is starting to get there. Yeah, I think you can see some of the little volcanoes. There's a little smidgen there, just about where you expect one of the big volcanoes. Wow. There was that line of 3 volcanoes. I think you can see one of them. By the way, once you animate these, they look much, much better. Oh, Mars is behind clouds. And it's easily visible with the eye. I can correct that in a second just by changing the contrast on the camera. That doesn't bother me even slightly. Okay, so let's come back to the stream and I will answer some questions. Oh, people have some super chats. Thank you for that, Anella. Thanks for streaming. The money, all the brain power to being capable of doing this stuff. Oh, glad to share Mars with you. And Frank the Tank, awesome name. Oh, you want to do a spectral analysis? Not a chance. I might just about be able to get a spectrum of Mars and get some if you do a spectrum of Mars, it's likely that all you'll see is it's red. Yeah, to actually do a chemical analysis from the spectrum is tricky. Tanner, thank you. Take a look at the lawnmower beating up the wrong guy. Is there a life on Mars? Okay. Okay, I'll take a look at that. Right, so the telescope you're looking through, Jeffrey, it's the 11-inch Schmidt Cassegrain, and so it's a Celestron CPC. Yeah, the critical thing is an 11-inch scope. The mount is kind of wasted on the deck that it's on at the moment because it's so shaky. But if you get it elsewhere, it's a pretty tanky mount. Downside is the telescope in total weighs about as much as a reasonable, well, no, a petite girl weighs about 65 kilos, I think, all in. Just the tube assembly on the, maybe not that. The tube assembly and the fork is 35 kilos. Yeah, so 60 something pounds. And I've got a Skyres sensor on the back, which one of my patrons assured me was actually the exact same sensor that they have in cell phones these days, which really does just show how things have moved on. Telescopes give you coronavirus. If so, I'm taking one for the team here, Neon. Yeah, it's kind of depressing looking at the coronavirus at the moment, actually. It's everywhere in Europe is almost as bad as it's ever been. France is as bad as it's ever been. Czech Republic is like 3 times as bad as it's ever been. The UK looks like it's going to go that way in about a week. Germany is the only one who's kind of resurged, but not greatly resurged. Oh, let's get Mars back. There we go. So you see there's a little bit of dirt there we go. You'll see there's a little bit of dirt on the sensor. It's actually really hard to keep the sensors completely dirt free. Yeah, I sort of clean them on a sort of semi-regular basis when I'm doing this, but it's actually easier for when you come to record the data. You just find a clean area of the sensor and record the data there. Ideal paradox. I took a look with my PowerSeek 125 EQ last night. It was not clear and took a lot to get it right. With the planets, especially with Mars, you're completely at the mercy of the atmosphere. If your atmosphere is not good, it doesn't matter what telescope you've got. Do you record flat or dark frames? No, is the simple answer. I could do cleaning the. I thought the dark frames is something that you only usually do when you're up for the deep sky. You know, that's all about the signal to noise. With the planet, it's not that important because you've actually got plenty, especially with things like Mars. You've got plenty of light to be playing with these boys. Okay, I'm going to have another go at focusing this. I think you might be in with a chance of seeing Oh yes, definitely. That is a very, very respectable image of Mars. It really, yeah, that's freaking A. In fact, I'm going to record that now before it goes behind a cloud again or something. There is actually high cloud around all over the place at the moment. So I'm going to record this. Oh, it's fading. It's going behind cloud. Don't go behind cloud. I might have to tweak up the... I'm losing photons to the cloud. Son of a bitch. Whatever. We'll see how it comes out. Okay, let's come back to Registacks. Let's get some more line points on there. A few more. Why not? Let's live dangerously. Whilst we still have the upper hand over the AI, you get a feeling that it's only going to be a matter of time before, the role of mankind is just to service the computers. It's sort of almost there with YouTube at the moment that, you serve at the mercy of the AI. So let's do a little celebration by taking a look at the closest. Actually, no, it's not our closest celestial neighbour. Venus is the closest. Although Mars at the moment I think is closer than Venus. In fact, I can show you that in Celestia in a second. I'll show you where all the planets are. I think we're suffering from the fact that it went behind a cloud. Yeah, I'm not so sure I can see the volcanoes. Although almost certainly, when this gets turned into an animation, oh, you're shitting me. Mars is completely not visible. Why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you tell me? It's gone. It's gone. Okay, I'm going to jack up the exposure to 1/3 of a second, and that's maximum sensitivity on everything. And 1/3 of a second. So when the cloud clears, let's hope it clears, that's just going to be a nuclear fireball. Okay, let's come back to the stream. Yeah, damn clouds. Well, I did okay to grab that one last image before. Right, seeing as he's hiding, I'll be back in. Oh, Thunderfoot Man, see, Buttercup. Yeah, some of us, Buttercup ain't a robot. Had another chat with hang on. Oh, good God, it is completely overcast. But hopefully it will clear. I'm going to hold out my fingers that it's going to clear. I don't want this to fail again. The atmosphere was still enough tonight, and we only had to hold out for 1 extra hour to see the volcanoes. So I'm going to hold out. Yeah, this is not a lost cause by any means, right? Let's just hope it's a little bank of cloud and it blows over. But I've got to get a drink, so just give me 1 second. And it turns out the drink was out here all along. It's just, yeah, it's all dark. I can't see anything. So, yeah, it's one of those weird things. So you would be looking at Mars, apart from, at the moment, you're looking at water in our own atmosphere. So space, it turns out, is close, really, really close. It's about 2 hours drive straight up, but the clouds in this case, they're lowish. These are probably 2,000 meters or something, maybe a mile or something. Dr. Buttercup. I did actually think, seriously consider changing the name on my YouTube channel to Dr. Thunderfoot, because if you take a look at all these conspiracy nuts who pimp these coronavirus conspiracies, they all call themselves doctor, and wear a lab coat or whatever, scrubs or whatever, anything to make it look like they're actually a doctor. And I think this might be one of the reasons why YouTube doesn't delete their videos, because they call themselves a doctor. And look at this Butter guy. I mean, he's been on all of these TV shows. He must be a real doctor. Yeah, Buttercup. Yeah, Dr. Thunderfoot. Yeah, normally I steer away from that sort of thing on a few grounds. First one is, the moon's just risen. Oh, that is lush. But it's in the clouds. I'm half tempted to roll over to the moon, actually. Mars isn't going anywhere for a little bit. Okay, let's go take a look at the moon. Okay, and then I'll get back to Dr. Thunderfoot. Okay, solar system, Saturn, moon. He shoots. We will see. We'll see what happens. Telescope is in motion. So the moon is behind clouds at the moment, but it should look fairly funky. It should look awesomely funky. And it might also burn out. It'll look like a nuclear fireball. But it's not quite aligned. Oh, yeah, okay, that's a hit. I think I found the moon. Sorry, there was the lag on the stream, which meant it was all black. Okay. Ooh. Alright, here we go. No, we don't want a second exposure. We want... yeah, let's maybe get there. Ooh. Craters. Alright. Actually, I'm going to rip out the 2 times Barlow. And actually, I'll tell you what might look even funkier. I'm going to put you on the finder scope. Right? Because I can do it, I think. Oops, not like that. Oh, then. Yay. There's my controller. Okay. Yeah, we should be able to see that. Son of a bitch. Why can't I see anything? I might crash the camera. It's possible. If you knock the camera around too much. No, camera works. Okay. And why? Why can't I see anything? Yeah, okay. Not getting Mars at the moment. Oh, I'm sorry about this. This can be remarkably fiddly to do in the dark. I need a nice wide field eyepiece, like that one. There we go. Aha. Oh, I know what it is. I can't get prime focus on the finder scope. At least I don't think I can. I'll give it one more go. One more go on the finder. Bugger. It's lost anyway. It's in the clouds. And at the moment, it is entirely overcast. So I've lost even the moon. The moon was good for a moment, but it's sadly sat behind clouds at the moment. In fact, let me just see if I can get a camera, stick it in. Right, this is pushing my tech skills to the complete limit here. Right, one more camera. Come on. Actually, I could rip the. I could rip the Skyrus at this point. He's not helping much. I've got to admit, I'm getting a sinking feeling about this, but let's see if we can get one more device in here. We want a video capture device. No, not the Skyrus. Yay! Good. Okay. Hi folks. Right. Now, I'm not sure how this will work, but I'm going to turn you around and, oh my god, I have to deal with the lag. Oh, hang on. I'm on the wrong bloody webcam. Told you this was going to be a challenge. Right, we don't want that one, we want the other one. There we go. Even better. Good, awesome. Now with this one, ooh, that's scary. That's a little too scary. Let me see if I can show you what the sky looks like at the moment. And I think this one will work. Yeah, there we go. You see all that orange crap. Oh, there's the telescope. That's awesome. So, as you can see, oh, he looks good, doesn't he? And the moon was rising just over there, but we now have a 100% overcast. This is sadly not looking good. And so what I was just trying to do is, this is the finder scope here. This would actually have given you a much better view of the moon. but these things are geared to having an eyepiece in here, and I couldn't get the detector to the prime focus. Well, not when I was trying to improvise it all on the spur of the moment in the dark. But okay, let's do something cool here. Let's go find Mars, Pluto, Neptune. No, what do we want to find in the dark, guys? I don't know whether you see that. It says Uranus. Sorry, Uranus, Saturn, Jupiter, Mars. I mean, it's a fantastic time of year to do planets. Anyway, and you hit engage, and off it goes. And so that you'll get to see where Mars is or would be. And yeah, it's behind a lot of clouds, which sucks donkey balls. And this thing here, this mobile phone holder, is what I usually use for holding the sensor. Okay, sometimes more efficiently, sometimes less. And then I have to reach over here, and you could do the focusing whilst touching the telescope the least amount that you can. Anyway, sadly, guys, I think this is going to be a night number 2 of failure. I'm going to leave all the kit out here, and if it clears up, I'll start the stream up again, because it's actually super fun to see volcanoes on a different planet. So I'm really sorry I didn't make it today, but it's not my fault. It's not my fault. It was awesome for a bit. It was nice and stable. Okay, so where's my drink gone? Oh, I've lost everything again in the dark. This is not the way that it's meant to work. Okay. So before I call it quits for the moment, are there any questions from chat? Angry man yells at clouds. Yes, orange Barbie sky glow clouds. Yeah, it's because I don't pray. I know what it is. It's because I don't have enough dehumidifiers. If we had more dehumidifiers working, this wouldn't be a problem. Why are you so awesome? We are going full Simpsons on the questions at the moment. Dear Mr. Burns, your campaign seems to have the momentum of a runaway freight train. Why are you so popular? Thunderfoot builds harps. Much love from Canada. Much love from the other side of the pond. Another drink. Another drink is on its way. There you go. That's the only thing that I hope we don't go on for is rain. It is thickening up here in terms of clouds, but yeah, doesn't look like rain at the moment. There is zero chance of seeing Mars through this, but monorail. I'm telling you, one of these days I'm going to go through the entire Monorail Simpsons episode and dub it into Hyperloop. So yeah, that's what I should do. I should turn it from the Monorail song to the Hyperloop song. And yeah, so the EV scope for Mars would be absolutely pathetic. I mean, yeah, what you've seen here today is 100 times better than what you would have seen through the EV scope. I mean, it's hang on, just 1 second. I'll show you what is optically superior to the EV scope. So this boy here, he's kind of the bargain basement telescope. This is as cheap as decent telescopes get. This is the Heritage 130mm Newtonian, which does something that's kind of cute. That one and that one, I think. It goes jump like that, and it's actually a fairly decent telescope for visual astronomy. It's a bit short focal length for planets, but the reason that I got this is, yeah, you know, we're not doing Mars at the moment. Yeah, you can put on a sensor very similar to the EV scope on this thing. This thing costs about $200, which and it's 130mm versus the EV scope, which was about 100. So yeah, you get more bang for the buck out of this thing. So that's why I got it. I was just going to stick it on one of the mounts and do a sort of side-by-side comparison. Never quite got round to it then. But one of these days I will do a, you know, under all the same atmospheric conditions, I'll do a side-by-side comparison of all of these things on Mars, hopefully, or some deep sky objects. Although, yeah, I can't do deep sky photography, even at its clearest here. It's shite. I can just about see the brighter deep sky objects, but to a degree that doesn't matter if you're just doing a comparison to see which one of the telescopes are good, which one's not so good. Yeah, so I mean, it's kind of like wines. A lot of the things with telescopes is you get a lot of bang for the buck out of stuff like this. Very early on, I had an 8-inch Dobsonian. It was the only thing I could afford. Or let me put it another way, it was the biggest thing that I could afford. You know, the whole thing about driven mounts. And it's stuff that you get if you can afford it. It's nice to have, but it's not necessary. It's only necessary if you're doing the photography. And yeah, there was, when I was getting into astronomy, there was zero chance that I could afford any of the photography stuff. That was back in the day when you had to develop your own film. You actually had to get all the light. There were no CCDs, there was no integration over time. You basically had to guide the telescope onto the object for 15 minutes or something, and then you had to send it off to be developed, and you saw if you'd done it well, you know, like the next day. In fact, I even did at one point develop my own pictures. In fact, let me show you one more thing. Huzzah! Now, the thing that's kind of cute about this guy isn't that it's a solar eclipse. This was 1991, I think. It's the longest solar eclipse that was ever going to occur in my lifetime. And I think it was for like, you know, 6 lifetimes afterwards. So yeah, I basically I sunk all of my money to going to see this thing, and yeah, I actually developed this picture. This is back in the days when you had to process the film yourself. So actually, I developed this one, and loads of others. But yeah, this is just one that I've got to hand. Let's put him down there, keep him safe. Okay, questions from chat. Just saw the old debate. Oh, with Psy. Oh my God, the never lying invisible unicorn who is or the ghost who never lies. So Temperate and Gate. That guy was That guy was a little, well, they're all a little crazy. All the presuppositional apologists is like they've given up trying to argue, so they start with the assumption that they're right, and then they take it from there. It's remarkably, if you're willing to entertain someone's starting position is I'm right and can never be proven wrong, then you can't but feel that it's quite easy to win a debate. All you do is say, I'm right, I know I'm absolutely right, and that's it. Where am I? I'm actually in Prague at the moment, which has shitty skies, but you do actually occasionally get some nice planetary viewing here. Darwar Films. He wrote me emails for a long time saying that, I know where you work and don't forget I'm out. He wrote these sort of psychotically, yeah, he had issues, did Darwar Films. Thanks for the super chat. God, this is too small for me to read. Connie, thank you. Darwar Films. He went on to reinvent himself as a Muslim scholar, and he just couldn't help going back and trying to fight battles that he'd lost, 10 years earlier. He does still exist. He renamed himself Lion of God or something, and the Islamists. Simpler times. It's odd how things change. That was the first schism, I think, was thanks for all you do. Thank you, Bo Benson. It's funny how things change on YouTube over time. That the Islam thing was the first schism in the atheist community. That there were people who were, it was okay to be as nasty as you wanted to the Christians, but if you did it to the Muslims, then you were disrespecting their religion, or it's just because you were racist because they were brown or something like that. And no. So that was the first time that I really had a clash with other atheists. Then the second one, which was ironically much more fatal to the atheist community, was feminism. After that, it never really recovered. Right, what's the difference between a Max-Utoph and a Schmidt-Cassegrain? Which do I think is better? So the thing that made the Schmitts possible is if you want to focus all the light from infinity to a point, you need a parabolic mirror. And parabolic mirrors are a pain in the ass to make, which is why Newtonian telescopes are fairly expensive. However, with the Schmidt design, they sort of said, look, well, parabolic mirrors are a pain in the ass to make, but we can make spherical mirrors exceptionally easily. So with spherical mirrors, you basically just grind almost any two things together, you'll get to a spherical shaped mirror. So the spherical mirrors are very cheap to make, but you can't just use them in a telescope. You need a corrector that makes them behave like they're parabolic. And so it was the combination of those two technologies that made the Schmitts possible and cheap. There's a slight difference between the Max-Utophs and the Schmitts. The Schmitts tend to have much bigger central obstructions, which means their images tend to be less contrasty, where the Max-Utophs tend to have much longer focal lengths and a much smaller secondary obstruction. So the Max-Utophs are generally better for planets, and the Schmitts are they're more a jack of all trades type telescope. But both of them have the problem that the way that they focus, because they've got a spherical mirror, it doesn't actually matter if the mirror flops around a bit, because it's spherical. It's the same no matter which way it goes. So all of these telescopes, they move by moving all of these telescopes focus by moving the back mirror forwards and backwards. And there's quite a bit of slop in the mirror. So whenever you try and focus with a Schmidt or a Maksutov, it rocks the image backwards and forwards, which makes focusing a pain in the ass. Which is why on the telescope here, which you won't be able to see because there's no light. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to angle the. I'm going to try and get some light off the screen. See if that's enough. Yeah, there you go. So this is a big ass Schmidt here at the moment. Oh fuck it, I'm just going to get a flashlight. All my wires are caught up. This is wrong. Oh, son of a bitch. Give me back my camera. This is impossible. How can that possibly? Let's try doing. There we go. Awesome. Right, just give me a second. I'm going to get a flashlight. Awesome. Here we go. So what you've got here on the back end of the Schmidt is this is the focuser, this boy here, and what that does is it moves the mirror backwards and forwards here, which it sort of works as a focuser. And the great thing about these as focusers is they have huge ranges of focus, which isn't true with things like refractors. So you mostly get the focus right by moving the mirror, and then this is not a standard piece of kit on Schmidts. You can focus with this. It's a little trickier, but it works. But this thing on the back here gives me an absolute incredible level of control on the focusing. So yeah, of all, if you're trying to get good focus, that Creighton focus thing is worth it. Okay, I'm going to kill the flashlight on this now. There we go. Awesome. Okay, any more? How are we doing? We're patchy clouds at the moment. Let's see if we can. Yeah. Patchy clouds, but no end in sight. I can't see the moon, which is a bad sign. What's your phone? It's a Galaxy 8, I think. I'm not entirely certain. Phones were. It's a few years old, right? Which means that in phone years, it's almost dead. It certainly had a very rough life. Okay, let's see if we can come over to the chat. God tells me to burn things. Isn't that the leprechaun? That's another Simpsons quote for anyone who's up for it. Yeah, live clouds on Earth. Not just live clouds on Earth, live orange clouds. I came in to see the moon, Dr. Thunder, Moonus. Oh, God, it's tempting, but I won't. Actually, no, I'll moon you in the dark. No, I didn't, but it'll give you nightmares. Don't even think about it. Yes. Oh, there you go. Woo orange. No, woo orange sky bad. That's a Trump joke. Oh, the diamond batteries. The diamond batteries are complete bullshit on every single level. They just don't have the power output. If they did have the power output, they would be lethal. Um, you know, it's one of those things. If they put out lots of radioactivity, then they could provide the power, but they would be high-level radioactive waste. If they put out the power slowly, then they're not so radioactive, they're not so dangerous, but they also can't produce any power. So the diamond batteries thing, I did do debunking on it years ago, but there was a new video they put out which was bullshit for a whole bunch of other reasons, which that was on the debunking list. The EU is demonstrating why Brexit won. I mean, I'm just kind of given up on arguing on that. It's going to be a fucking disaster. Just ask yourself the question that, okay, let's just say there is the possibility of broad sunlit uplands, assuming that British politicians have the sophistication, the aptitude, the skills to deliver it. And you've got Boris Johnson, Gove, and a bunch of others. It's going to be a disaster. They couldn't organise a piss up in a brewery. But whatever, it's done. And it's, yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is it's going to be far more damaging for the UK than it will be for Europe. Europe basically, let's just say, whatever, the UK was 1/4 of the European Union. They pull out. That means that the European Union is 3/4 intact, whereas the UK has to basically reorganize everything else on its own, which it used to do. But, you know, having to set all that up in, well, whatever it is, a few months, it's not going to happen. The EU did actually do fairly well. Germany has done the best by far with the coronavirus, even in the second wave, which they're getting in France, the UK. Germany is still looking pretty good. Where are they now? Update. Yeah. Have you ever considered stepping in the knowledge of nuclear infrastructure with the Aaron? Is the Aaron crowd anti-nuclear? I mean, nuclear is pretty decent stuff. Yeah, mostly stemming from people not understanding nuclear power, which is sort of understandable. I mean, you know, not everyone has the privilege of, you know, having spent years in higher education, all that sort of thing. Thunderfoot, lots of social shaming around here for wearing a mask wrong. Yeah. I think if you're wearing a mask, that's a lot of the battle. For me, I think if you could get people disciplined enough that they just stop touching things, that would probably be as effective. But I don't see that happening. Surprise Mechanics, thank you for the super chat. You should debunk Optimum Detox foot spa. No, you don't remove heavy metals with a foot spa. You know, the first thing you learn about skin is it's fairly it's watertight. You go for a swim, you don't get water going through your skin. You don't get water going through your skin, you're certainly not going to get heavy metals. I use pyramid power to protect myself from coronavirus. Yeah, I've heard good things about pyramid power. I'm just checking the weather again. It's slightly patchier clouds, but yeah, no sign of it clearing anytime soon, which is a shame, because if it did clear, we'd have good views of the Martian volcanoes about now. Telescope on Mars, useful or not, at the moment it's a dead loss. Yeah, all you're going to see is water vapor. Where's your tinfoil hat? I only wear them during thunderstorms. Cody's lab did a reverse detox foot spa. Put his foot in mercury. I've got to admit, so mercury, if you get it in the wrong form, if you get it in a soluble form, mercury is nasty stuff. But as the liquid mercury, I don't think it's that bad. If I had $500, which telescope would I get? Okay, for me this is a no-brainer. You know, I grew up in the visual astronomy days, and you get the biggest mirror you can for the money, which is typically a cheapest mount, biggest mirror. And even now, I still would hold that aperture wins. The 11-inch Schmidt is out here because, you know, I've had them side by side, and for me it's optically the best machine I've got. The refractors do give nice contrasty images, but in terms of just the sheer warmth that you get off the big mirror, donating because I like your mirrors. Thank you, Echo the Husky. The only downside you're going to have to bear in mind with the biggest mirror you can get, the biggest Dobsonian. The word you're looking for is Dobsonian. It's this cheap mount that they have for the Newtonians. Greetings from Germany. Can you say something in German? Yes, I can. Other than Auf Wiedersehen and Hallo, Ausgang? Is that it? You know, when you're driving through Germany, you come to a lot of towns called Ausgang until you realise it means exit. I think it's Ausgang or something like that. Other than that, I hate to say that a lot of my German I know from World War II. So danke, yeah, danke schön. Ausgang. Isn't that how you say it? Ausfahrt? Yeah, Ausgang, yeah. But the thing is, if you don't know any German, and it looks like the name of a town. So when I first drove into Germany, it's like, huh, there's a place called Ausgang, and then you come up to the next one, and there's another place called Ausgang, and yeah. After a while, everyone has a good laugh at your expense. That yeah, you're an idiot. That yeah, that's the way it goes. Okay, I don't see this ending anytime soon. We've got full overcast still here. So, any more questions? If it does clear out, right, I'm going to leave the telescope tracking here. If it does clear up, oh Christ, we're already at 12:30ish. Oh wow, painless. You've been following for 12 years. That's almost as long as I've been on YouTube. In fact, that might be you might have been here from the very beginning. Oh, right. So the images of the sun were taken with an H alpha telescope, and those things are insanely expensive. So the telescope I've got here is a few $1,000s. The H alpha telescope costs that plus quite a bit more, all on its own, and all it can do is look at the sun. But it also allows you to see some awesome stuff on the sun. So, you know, for me, I can do the videos of the transits of transit of Venus, the solar eclipse, and just the prominences on the sun. Noxum, Iron tried to facilitate a talk with an informed. It's mostly good. Right. So, I mean, so me and Aaron had a falling out. Oh god, I forget. It was in the schism of the atheism days, over feminism. But yeah, this is kind of water under the bridge now, as far as I'm concerned. So, whatever. But yeah, I'd be happy to. If Aaron needs someone in a debate to talk about, nuclear power, I'm happy with that. Yeah, I'd do that. Dr. Phil, does 2 + 2 = 5? If not, explain why you love Elon Musk so much. Yes. This is the weird thing, right? You categorize billionaires, and a lot of the time they're billionaires more by chance than by design. In fact, most of the time I think it's by chance than by design. So for instance, Bill Gates, he was just there at the right time, and he got obscenely rich. And so was Elon Musk with PayPal, and that's where he got rich, was with PayPal. It wasn't with making rockets or any of that sort of thing. But then comes the question, if you were a billionaire, what would you spend the money on? Because, once you bought a house and everything else that you want, you're probably only down a few $1,000,000, which means that you've still got $999 million left to spend. And for me, I just don't understand the workings of the billionaire brain, in that there are people, and Trump would be among these, who, even though they're obscenely rich, they dedicate their lives to putting an extra zero on the end of their name, on the amount that they're worth. And for me, this is just an alien concept. If you have infinite resources, you go out and do interesting stuff. Yeah, you don't try to earn more money. What are these people doing? And so Elon Musk is, he for me is, he's trying to do something good. The things I don't like about Musk is, first of all, the Hyperloop is complete and utter bullshit. There is zero chance that's going to work. In fact, some of these Elon Musk fans did a video, all of Thunderfoot's videos on the Hyperloop debunked, and it was comically bad, to the point where I was half tempted to take him to school on that one. It's also quite funny. You take a look in the comments below, there are lots of people who take him to school on it. So the Hyperloop is complete bullshit. The rockets, it's an incremental step, but it's not a game changer, right? I mean, people see the vertical landing rockets and they think this is something brand new. It's not. It's been around for 20 years. The thing is that no one ever really invested in it because there was never really a market for it. Now, Musk is kind of right that, if you want to go to Mars, you're going to need some heavy lift rockets at some point, but and you've got to get it cheaper, and he's maybe got it 50% cheaper if you're optimistic about things. That's not really a game changer. You need to knock 3 zeros off how much cheaper you're going to make this before things like going to Mars become viable. I mean, in principle, the amount of energy you need to get to space isn't that much. You can do the calorific calculations, and you can work out the minimum amount of energy. And the problem is that the devices that you need to create the thrust, the rockets, they're fairly expensive, and they function right on the limit of what's possible, which means they have a tendency of blowing up, and that's bad news bears if you want lots of people to do this. So And on top of that, I mean, Musk's idea of going to Mars and colonizing it. You know, there's all these flash PowerPoints about how we're just going to basically build SimCity on Mars. This is complete cloud cuckoo land. Yeah, it's a proposal of like going and living the rest of your life at the South Pole, apart from there's no air. You know, you can't go outside. You're going to be basically stuck in an oversized Coke can for the rest of your life, drinking recycled water. It's one of those things. It's got a lot of romance that I want to look out on a new planet and see the sunrise, which would be awesome, truly, truly awesome. If let me pull this back over here. If you could go and stand and watch the sunrise on the planets there, but yeah, after that your life is shit for the rest of your life. I mean, it's okay. Question from Vinova. You're fantastic at calling out pseudoscience. Can you humbly admit when you've been wrong about something in your life, particularly in YouTube? Now, I mean, that's the thing about the videos that I made on YouTube. I usually put quite a lot of effort into fact checking them. Especially, I did actually make a mistake in one of the Hyperloop videos. I slipped an order of magnitude. And I think in one of the early Why Do People Laugh at Creationists, there's one where I'm an order of magnitude out on, what is not escape velocity, orbital velocities or something. But yeah, okay. Give me an example of something where I don't think I've been wrong. It's one of those things you can always check. Actually, that's not entirely true. Hang on, let me just go through the super chat. Noxum, you're particularly welcome. Video is called Going Nuclear. Okay, I'll check that out. Yeah, okay, things that I've been wrong on. I mean, I know there's loads of people who think I suck at politics and all that sort of thing, but okay, fine. If there was a right opinion on politics, I mean, what is there to argue in politics? I mean, the whole left-right division seems to be it's arguing over some of the more little things in. Actually, that's not entirely true. Once you get down to what do people agree on? Freedom of speech, yeah, that's good. Social healthcare. This is where the divisions start. Some people say you should have more social healthcare. Some people say you should have less. Yeah. Brexit would be an example. Everyone told me I was wrong with Brexit, and the original argument I put down on Brexit is the whole thing is basically renegotiating a trade deal, which is essentially what it's boiled down to now. And yeah, I mean, what you could argue this was some great bid for freedom, but what freedoms are you really regaining here? When it comes to this question of what is it that was so abhorrent in the status quo that it couldn't either be fixed in a sensible manner? Why do you have to basically upset the apple cart so much? But no, it is what it is. It's going the way it's going, and yeah. Okay. He was right on Brexit, obviously. Well, I think so. Although there's going to be, you take a look at the polls on Brexit, they've not changed greatly. But yeah, I mean, essentially most of it is, if you want a trade deal with Europe, you've got to agree on some standards. for trading, and you need something to enforce those standards, which is kind of what the European Union did. What's your opinion on faster than light speed? No. I don't deal a lot with the relativistic stuff, but speed of light seems to be one of those universal things. You never violate the second law of thermodynamics. You never go faster than light. It's Thunderfoot, what are your thoughts on neutron stars? Do you think they create mass? I doubt it. I've never heard that neutron stars create mass, but yeah. So the early expansion of the universe, maybe. Which is a train wreck? Solar freaking roadways or Brexit? It's kind of a tough one. Neither of them really went anywhere. But yeah, I mean, Brexit kicks off at the end of this year, and it looks like it's going to be no deal. And for me, that's a bit of a nightmare. I usually go back to see the family at Christmas, and I'm not entirely sure whether I basically have to get back to Europe before New Year, because I'm not sure if I don't. It's entirely possible that if UK pulls out of the EU flight system, then it has to invent all of its own flight standards and get them acknowledged by everyone else, otherwise it can't fly anywhere. So it's difficult to believe that that all the air transport could be shut down, but who knows? In any event, I'm planning to get back to Europe before New Year, comfortably before New Year. Super chat. Yeah, I debunked the stuff your dad believes in, so you're grateful. Happy to have helped Ariana. It's quite difficult to read all this stuff in the dark. Double slit. I think Feynman said it best. If you think you understand quantum mechanics, you don't understand quantum mechanics. Although, let me tell you, you know that I did all these recent experiments on solvated electrons in ammonia. I did some molecular dynamics simulations on those, and for that I needed some electrons. Now, everyone says that you can't simulate electrons classically because they're inherently quantum mechanical particles. I wasn't so sure I believed that, so especially with the solvated electrons, because those things are stable for days to weeks. So I actually created a molecular dynamics force field for electrons. I created classical electrons, which this really got under the skin of a load of the people who do quantum mechanics in the department. Even more so because it looks like it works pretty well. But actually, I might do a video on that, because the nice thing about the classical electron is no one believes it, even though it looks like it works, and it shouldn't work. And it looks awesome. The simulations, they're these classical electrons, but they're wibbly wobbly things. It's kind of fun. What's better, chemistry or biology? I would go for chemistry myself, but yeah, no, definitely chemistry. But this is much more my character. I'm a sort of ground up understanding things. As long as the ground is Newtonian classical physics type stuff. Once you get into the quantum mechanical, it gets all very non-intuitive very quickly, and you've got to understand the maths, otherwise you don't understand it, and the maths is a fucking nightmare. So, Thunderfoot, at the end time, I would agree with the answer. The Twitter cesspool video. You didn't agree with me because the appeal to emotion and equating analogies with comparisons. All I can say is try to have a sensible argument with someone on Twitter. The thing is, the very nature of the medium basically means that if you want to win an argument on Twitter, you're down to trolling people. That's almost the best you can do. There is no way you can have a sensible argument in however many, whatever the character limit is. And any reply, even if you're arguing in good faith, because you have to contract the argument so much to get it into the character limit, it either looks like you're strawmanning someone, or you're arguing in bad faith, or it's some obvious fallacy of some sort. So almost the best you can do with a Twitter argument, which I now avoid like the plague, is dismissive sarcasm or something, basically trolling people, which is why I despise Twitter with a passion. I don't think I've ever seen. Lots of people engage with it though, and a lot of people really, really like Twitter. Me, yeah, I don't have a amicable relationship with Twitter. Thunderfoot, what's Dunning-Kruger and the coronavirus? If it goes, the weird thing about this virus is it seems to have done better in hot climates than in cold ones. So it may well be that the winter upsets everything, and it goes away in winter. That's not historically the way that these respiratory viruses went, but it is actually possible that could be the way that it goes. But other than that, nah, I mean, there has been so many people flouting their ignorance of the coronavirus and just ended up aiding its spread, which is depressing. But do you think Trump will win an election? Maybe. He's as popular now as he ever was. The thing is that his approval is almost entirely frozen in. That it's difficult to see him winning any ground. It's difficult to see him losing any ground. I still vividly remember having an argument with a professor in America, and let's do the super chat. Do you think the neighbours have processed and stored uranium dioxide on the balcony? It's sat behind me next to the carrots, which I'm going to eat at some point, and I don't think the neighbours know, but I wouldn't have any problem in telling them. I mean, I've got stuff in a display cabinet as well inside, so it's just minerals that have been refined. If you start turning it into reactor type fission products, then this is a different matter. But anyway, so where was I? Trump and re-election. His approval is very much frozen in, which means yes, the professor I was having the argument with, he swore blind that he wished that Trump got the nomination, because then it would be absolutely certain that Trump would lose. And I just I'd been working with him for 10 years at that point, and during that time I'd seen America re-elect Bush, and any country that can re-elect Bush could quite happily elect Trump, and that's the way that it went down. And it's entirely possible that Trump gets re-elected. Entirely possible. If he doesn't get re-elected, there's every chance that he goes to jail, because once he loses the protection of the office, he is kind of like Berlusconi in that sense, that all the time you can pardon people and you have leverage, you can appoint who the head of the judicial system is, you're okay. The second you lose all of that, and you've done all this shady shit Trump has, you're going to be shit out of luck. You can't. Yeah. But I don't know. We'll see. So the weird thing is, you take a look at how America's doing with the coronavirus at the moment. The cases look like they're going down strongly, but I'm not so sure I believe that, because the number of deaths is staying pretty constant. So, would you do a chemistry video with Nile Red? Yeah, I would. Yeah, why not? Refining the uranium. I've got so much in place for doing the refinement of the uranium, but I've just not had a chance. You know, it's one of those things, you get distracted every now and again, and we have still the light cloud cover with no hope of, no immediate prospects of it breaking. But yeah, I've been doing this for basically a week solid now. 3 nights this week. This is the 4th night this week. I've been up to crazy hours in the morning with the telescopes. In fact, 2 of those nights I didn't actually get to bed till after sunrise. Yeah, and sometimes I wish I was more focused, but it's fun, you know. For me, I'd never seen the volcanoes on Mars before. This is the first time I've ever seen them in my life. Okay, that's awesome, Noctum. Yeah, if you get in contact with Aaron, yeah, I'm happy to spend an hour with Aaron and whoever. Because this is the thing: the people who argue against nuclear power basically have never dealt with anything radioactive in their life. In fact, let me show you something. In fact, if you watch the Voice of Thunder channel, you'd have seen this. But this is my genuine Fiesta ware plate. So this dates before World War II, and they used uranium in the glaze for these things. So here I have my Geiger counter, who I'm going to turn the beeping on because I want the beeping. There we go. So that's what normal looks like, and that's the high radiation alarm. So you're up to about 100 times background there, and 200 times background. Yeah. Okay. But so when I do finally get my radioactive carrots grown, I'm going to eat them off this plate, because I mean, this is the thing. They're alpha particles that come off uranium, so you don't really you don't get any radiation until you get really close, and then once you get away from it, there's nothing. So right, I'm going to put this away somewhere safe. This actually, yeah, this cost about $100. This stuff is vintage, so it's almost an antique in its own right, and the radioactive stuff is super collectible, especially yeah, this is the only time I know anything about markings on porcelain. This basically means it's one of the pre-1945 ones, which means this is non-depleted uranium in here. You could get your uranium-235 out of this. Orange plate bad. Actually, that's an awesome title for a video. Thank you for that, Vinova. Orange plate bad. No obvious signs of breaks in the cloud, which sucks. Beep beep beep. Yep. Actually, yeah, I'm going to take this back to the carrots, so you can see. Yeah, let's go for. So you can hear the beeping next to the carrots. I think. Okay. Hang on. Let's see if we can get some light as well. Aha! Awesome. So here are the radioactive carrots. So those are the radioactive carrots, and they've been growing there for about 6 months now. And there's actually a time lapse that I've had running for the whole 6 months there. I almost feel guilty now that. Oh, super chat! Love your content. Oh, thank you for the nice. Thanks, Dennis. I hope you grow up to be like me too. Although, maybe a little more normal. But, yeah. So with the radioactive carrots, I've started to bond with the carrots. Yeah. Maybe you shouldn't be quite like me. And the reason I'm bonding with the carrots is because I grew them from seeds. Yeah, I've actually got this video of when I was first putting all the seeds into the holes, and now they're fully grown carrots, and it seems a shame. I nurtured them, I grew them, and to eat them seems so heartless. But right, let's see if I can kill the beeping. There we go, awesome. Kill the beeping. Anyway, guys, yeah, I don't think we're going to be getting any clear skies anytime soon, so I think I'm going to call it quits here. Right, so it was awesome. Many thanks for you all turning out. Thumbs up would be good if you get a chance, and if by some run, if we're fortunate and clears up, I'll start another stream just to show you the volcanoes of Mars. Okay, awesome. So you've had orange planet bad, orange plate bad, orange. There was another orange things bad. Okay, ciao.